it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're on a Samsung, if you're on an Apple. I don't care if you're watching on an LG or a Samsung or a Vizio. I just want my message in front of you.
Yes.
And that's where it gets really, really exciting, is that right message in front of that customer at the right time, and it makes sense, and it just gets them to take an action to that dealership.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Drive. We're out here in Newport Beach, California. We have to thank the Evolution Media Group for having us out here, and we are so excited. Today, I get to jam with one of my favorites. Okay, maybe not so favorite. No, I'm just kidding. He's here. He's in the car, so I better say favorites. I have James Klaus with me. James, what's up, brother?
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Hey, look, I'm glad that we finally got a chance. I know, like, me and you, like, hey, I'll see you next week. Go to this event. Hey, you go to that one? Yeah, I'll see you there. And it's like, honestly, dude, I think I may have seen you more in the last few weeks than I probably have my wife. I don't know if I should be admitting that, but
it's true. It is absolutely true.
It's event season. That's where we're at, man. We're out here, and it's just great to be here. Hey, James, I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story, because I'm just always fascinated, right? So let's kick it off there. How did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Absolutely. So I've been in auto for over 20 years now. I started off selling cars in Bozeman, Montana. I walked in, I was out in Bozeman, I was younger, I was selling office supplies part-time. And I walked into a car dealership and upsold the general manager from a case of paper to a pallet. And within 2 weeks, I was a car salesman. And the industry got a hold of me, and I've literally, I've never looked back.
You got bit by the bug, man, and you're in.
Absolutely. So I spent about 14 years in retail out in Bozeman, and then joined a startup in Minneapolis called Dealer Teamwork. Mm-hmm. After that, went to a marketing and analytics and attribution company called VistaDash, and currently I am the Chief Revenue Officer at Cognition.
Cognition, man. Hey, look, I'm excited when you gave us kind of some of the topics and stuff we want to talk about today. It's just like, I think there's just, it's just a lot of opportunity. And I think for any dealer or dealership out there watching this right now, we're going to go over, I think, some pretty cool opportunities in the market that, it's about efficiencies. It's like just getting more for your money and stuff like that. So let's get into the world of OTT for a minute.
Absolutely. So dealers have been doing OTT for some time now, but dealers haven't understood what that actually means. And conferences like the one we're at right now, which is a phenomenal event, is really bringing to light what dealers need to be looking at from their OTT provider. And really, what does that even mean from a tier 3 dealer standpoint? Are we checking a box, or are we actually optimizing and providing the best content to the people that we're trying to target market to? And that's what this conference really brings to light, is some really forward-thinking companies that are really pushing the envelope on everything from attribution to partnerships to really helping dealers sell more cars and understand how to do that.
Well, and I think that we're in that era right now. I'm actually really excited for our industry. It's like, for the last, decade, this last era we in, I feel like we widget ourselves to death. We had a widget for absolutely every bloody thing possibly you could have. And, 12 widgets on my website for this and that and the other thing. And now it's like, and maybe it's from the pandemic, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's just that's how we're evolving. But you mentioned attribution, and it's just like, I find dealers out there, and some of the most progressive dealers out there, they're able to do a lot with a lot less than before. And I think because they're just getting smarter. I feel like technology and where we are in marketing is really kind of caught up with each other. For everybody out there that's not doing OTT, let's kick it off a little 101, okay?
You got it. So what is OTT? OTT and connected TV is really just a fancy way of saying streaming television. no one has, traditional cable anymore. Nobody's got Dish Network, right? And even the people that have what would be considered a traditional platform like a Charter or a Spectrum, which are fabulous companies, they're no longer connected, so to speak, via a box. They get connected via Wi-Fi now. So that's what really streaming TV is, right? We're cord cutters and we're done. So why is that important to a car dealer and their strategy? Well, when I talk about OTT, what we're really talking about is audiences. Because for the first time in automotive history, or really in marketing history, we're able to target to the household. Because we know what people are consuming and how they're consuming the media on their big screen. We know what they're doing out there, so we can do one-to-one communications, because now, cutting edge agencies like the ones at this event are targeting by household. So they're saying, okay, I want to go after, I'll use you as an example. I want to go after, a middle-aged man, good income, family, who wants to buy an SUV.
Yeah.
I can target your whole household, regardless of what you're watching, with an ad that makes sense for you.
And
then your
across
neighbor,
multiple devices. I think that's the key.
yeah.
Too.
So you're going to see it on your phone. You're going to see it on your tablet, on your laptop, and of course on the big screen. And that's that frequency that you're going to get that's going to really push that message forward. And that's the very exciting part. So I think I went a little deeper than 101.
No. But I think you really kind of laid it out there. It's just this monster opportunity. And, since I've been a marketer for years, I've said this in many other podcasts too, but, I get asked a lot, like, what is the best marketing strategy I can run for my dealership? And I always kind of break it down to this one. It's the one in where you're known. Right, and I know it's kicking in a little old school, and this is very, very marketing 101, but it's all about reach and frequency. You just mentioned frequency,
yes,
and that's what this is what we're talking about. But the cool thing is, not only do I have to reach everyone, I can reach very specific people with a very specific message at a frequency where I'm going to become known in that household. And I think that's one of the biggest opportunities. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. The way I like to break it down is, think about it like this. You run a car dealership and you want to get your message out there. And of course, you want to get more people into your dealership for sales and service. How do you do that? Right? So what I would say is, well, first you need to make sure they know who you are. And that's where that big screen OTT or streaming TV ad that's non-skippable, that's in everyone's living room, that can't be ignored, that is great for that first touch.
Yep.
Then you need to have, like we talked about, some frequency where maybe hit some online display, right? Some very targeted display to that same exact household that you served that OTT ad to. Then, as they're consuming other media, like let's say on CNN.com or FoxNews.com, hit them with some online video with that very targeted messaging, right? Yes. Maybe it's a specific vehicle at this point because we've gotten you to there. Then there's other avenues and channels that are very important, like Google paid search or Google SEO, because it's going to end up there. So dealers need to think big screen, display, streaming radio, Facebook ads, paid search to the dealership.
And this is
maybe not in that order,
yes,
but that's how we consume media. So let's make sure those strategies align, and that's where partnerships come into play.
Well, and I also think, it's the opportunity here as being able to target the specific audience. We're all consumers. And, I love when I am targeted with something that is relevant to me. That is a cool car.
Yes,
sorry, guys.
I think the A-team just drove by.
Literally.
Mr. T's about to hop out.
Sorry, we are car guys. Okay. And occasionally on this podcast, we might go squirrel on you, so we apologize in advance.
Well, we're also in Newport Beach, California,
yes.
and on the water. So there's a lot of distractions from the yachts I'm looking at over there to the cars that drive around this part of the country. Let's just say there's no shortage of distractions right now.
But we're talking about even the audiences out here. See, I think this is what one of the most unique and biggest opportunities dealers have, is that it's not this one message for all scenario. You know, like I love being marketed to by something that they know about me. So like, let's say for example, I love fishing. All right, I shop for fishing lures. I spend more money than I should ever admit at Bass Pro Shop. Right, like that's just one of the passions I've kind of grown into, right? And I, you know, if I'm watching something on OTT, or I was watching actually a movie the other day, actually on Amazon, sure enough, it was Prime, and I got hit, and it was, sure enough, it was for this new type of lure, and I was like, oh, they know me,
yes,
you know, and it just felt good. It felt like there was like this connection to it. But I know you got some cool strategies and stories that go along with that.
No, I'm going to piggyback on that because what did we just drive by? We just drove by like 19 people with surfboards on their way to go surfing. Yes. And all I could think about when you said that was audience creation and how different that is than where we live.
Yes.
Right? Like Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but you live in Texas now, right?
In Nashville, sorry,
Tennessee, right? You live in Tennessee.
Orange Lamborghini.
And I live in Minneapolis. The messaging that would hit us versus the guys that live in Newport Beach, California and surf every day, they're going to resound differently.
Yes.
And when you talked about Amazon, you made a really, really interesting thing go off in my brain, which is Amazon proved that we actually want someone to tell us what we want before we know we want it. Because when we log into Amazon.com, we expect the products and services that we want to be shown to us immediately without having us to click any buttons. And they do a very good job of telling me what I want beforehand. Now imagine taking that data and rolling that out into your OTT strategy.
Yes.
You know, whether it's what they've been shopping for. So right here, surfboards. And then what kind of cars, right? Roof racks for those cars. And then the types of cars that people drive to go surfing. Or you go fishing.
Yes.
Well, if I know that you're buying fishing lures and rods and you tow a boat, well, you're really in market for maybe an F-250 or 350 to tow your boat to be able to go fishing. So let's hit you with an ad about fishing and how this boat is how this truck is gonna make you going fishing more often easier for you, because that's the value.
Well, and that is, and I love that you bring up the buy the boat thing, because there are certain let's call it life moments,
yes,
that has a tendency of triggering other purchases. Like having a kid, for that's one. Getting married, new houses. These typically retiring. These do, we have the studies that show that these kind of trigger also along vehicle purchases, right? And yeah, I did the same thing. I went boat shopping, and yeah, my truck's not going to be able to do it. And of course, I started going vehicle shopping along with it, going, oh God, here I go. But anyways, I digress. But this is what I actually get really excited about this time in our industry for marketing. It is really going to come down to how creative the dealerships are at connecting with me, this specific audience, right?
100%.
And I know you got some cool strategies. I wouldn't mind kind of going down that rabbit hole if you don't mind.
I love it.
Of some of those strategies that you've seen work well, and maybe some that didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly with what you're talking about is the strategies to make sure that you're using that proper audience creation. Mm-hmm. And this is where partnership really comes into it.
Yes.
Where, like, we at Cognition, we use a lot of Amazon data. We sit directly on the Amazon DSP, which is the demand side platform, which is how you create ads that then show on Amazon Prime Video, etc. So we can take all that Amazon shopping data, and then we can also layer in Polk data, because we love Polk. They do a wonderful job with data. I can tell you household incomes, monthly payments, where they service, a lot of value there. And so from that, we can build a robust strategy to serve you the vehicle that you're looking for, maybe even before you know you're looking for it, because it's solving a problem.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like marketing has forgotten in our industry, is we're here to solve a problem for our dealer partners and for our agency partners. And that problem is getting in front of the right customer at the right time. And that's, as businesses, what you should be trying to solve too. Like, how do I help Jason go fishing more? Right?
Please, if you can solve that, please hit me up. No.
Correct. But that's the exciting things that are happening. And in the spirit of partnership, you're seeing companies come together like at this conference, right?
Yes.
Where we have JD Power, You have Evolution Media. You have, a lot of other just amazing companies. Disney's here, right? Disney, right? That's a pretty big one. We had Fox here, right?
Trade Desk here.
Trade Desk is here. And we're all collaborating together. And even though we may compete, in order to bring solutions to the table for our dealer partners and for our agency partners.
Well, that's what I love about events like this, and that's what I love connecting with guys like yourself and just so many other individuals that I'm going to be able to have an opportunity to connect with. By the way, thank you, Evolution Media, for allowing me to do that.
Good job, Evolution Media. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you. But, like I said, I get excited as a marketer. There's just so much opportunity here, and it's just like I said, it pushes me to be a better creative marketer, for my dealer clients. Now, one rabbit hole I wanted to go down with you, because we kind of mentioned it, but I really want to go do that, is not only do we just have this ability to connect and present our message to multiple devices inside of a house, which is amazing. I think recently I saw the most recent stat, like the average household now has like over 6 connected devices, and I think that actually seemed low. Yeah. I think it was a relatively old one. I would be surprised we're talking 9 or 10 connected devices anymore. But to be able to target that house and all the devices in there, like I said, targeting parameters, creative. Not only can we do that, we can attribute this bad boy, and I think that's one of the things, just as dealerships, and maybe this is me putting my dealer principal hat back on, is just I struggled with, look, here's the thing. I will continue to invest money into things that are working, but in the past, did I always know that it worked? Not necessarily. So let's talk a little bit about this monster opportunity around attribution when it comes to the OTT and streaming.
Absolutely. So we at Cognition and our dealer partners and our vendor partners, our agency partners, we have a pretty cool solution for attribution. Mm-hmm. And what we did is we built a solution over top of the Amazon Marketing Cloud, or AMCs, and it's called a clean room. Right? So we take Amazon Marketing Cloud data and we have a clean room that sits on top of it. We built technology for this. So we ingest in all the bulk sales data, right? We ingest in all the dealer sales data or all the dealer service data into this clean room. And a clean room is a super, super secure place where you can query out attribution. So what happens is we get in all that bulk sales data. One of our agency partners, is able to then look at all of the impressions that were logged via the Amazon DSP. Mm-hmm. The sales records come into the clean room, and from there, you'll know how many people bought a car that were exposed to one of your ads. You're gonna know, if you ingest in that lead data directly from the dealership, how many leads, let's say you had 1,000 leads, how many of those people were exposed to one of your ads in that frequency. And other things happen from that that's really interesting, which is, we get the attribution piece. But what about, let's say you had 1,000 leads come in, right? Yes. We put them into the clean room. We can say we matched 900 of these to an Amazon user, because it comes in and it's trying to match up email to email versus Amazon, home address to home address for Amazon, name, phone number, all that data that we voluntarily give Amazon, right? So now it's going to match that up. So we get a match rate. Let's call it 90%. So 900. Only 100 of those people bought a car.
Yeah.
What did we do with the other 800 records?
Well, it just pushes us to do better. Anyways, go ahead. You just finish with that.
No, so we take those 800 records and we create a new audience off of that. And we continue to remarket and to retarget to them. And the interesting thing is we were just watching a panel on the cookieless future, right? They were talking about cookies going away and all that. And the interesting thing about the OTT space is we're not very cookie reliant.
No.
So we're really prepared for this. So while everybody's freaking out with Google and Facebook and everything else and cookies going away.
Well, real quick, just so everybody watching and listening, why is it a big deal that cookies are going away? Look, as an industry, all right, we've really relied a lot of our marketing strategies around remarketing to an individual, right? And you can blame Apple, you can blame Google, there's all kinds of different things that you can probably ultimately blame. But that high frequency remarketing strategy, even though it still exists, it doesn't exist in the way it used to, and not nearly as efficient. And that's why we have to look at new strategies like this.
Absolutely. And so now we can remarket to those people, getting that message in front of them until they come in and buy.
On a device they have.
On whatever device they have. I don't care what device you're on. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're on a Samsung, if you're on an Apple. I don't care if you're watching on an LG or a Samsung or a Vizio. I just want my message in front of you.
Yes.
And that's where it gets really, really exciting, is that right message in front of that customer at the right time, and it makes sense, and it just gets them to take an action to that dealership.
Well, it's just a huge opportunity to create a lot of efficiencies. I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time today, and I love talking about this because if you're so passionate about it, and it's just, well, hey, it's just such an important topic to talk. But hey, for everybody out there watching and listening right now who would maybe love to connect with you and learn a little bit more about you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Well, the first thing we need to do is make sure I make it back without you crashing.
Done.
So we just avoided that. You can connect with me just with my cell. 406-595-4818. It's 406-595-4818. Or go to cognitionads.com. If you're an agency, we'd love to talk to you. Love to talk to you about attribution, what we can help with, clean rooms, Amazon, etc. We got you.
Dude, thank you so much for taking the time, Jan, to do this. Has been a lot of fun. If you're watching and listening, we really appreciate you taking this time. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.